It is said that life cannot be without food. When we destroy the lands that give food, we destroy the foods that give life. Let us work to protect our agriculture sector on our journey to food security right here in Jamaica. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Sandra Johnson. We have an interesting show lined up for you, so stay tuned as we turn the pages.
I want to tell the farmers thank you, that we truly appreciate all they do. They give tremendous service and they are in fact everyday heroes. They get up and ensure that we have food on our table, and were it not for a farmer, we wouldn't be eating. So oftentimes we may take it for granted, but we want the farmers to know that we're the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, that we do not take them for granted, and we're here to support them. So we will continue to roll out our activities to support our farmers during this month and the entire year. They know that rather the AIC, the NIC, all the agencies of the ministry is there to support them, but my only message is really thank you for all you do.
This week on Get the Facts, we're discussing food security with Colin Cooper, food safety specialist in the Ministry of Health. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Get the Facts. This is the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives and national development activities and interest. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. The third annual World Food Safety Day will be celebrated globally on June 7, 2021, and the National Codex Committee, established by the FAO and the WHO to protect consumer health and promote fair practices in food trade, has been leading a week of food safety awareness activities from May 31 to June 7. Here to tell us about that and how to ensure the foods we eat are safe is Mr. Colin Cooper, Environmental Health Specialist with responsibility for food safety and protection in the Environmental Health Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Sir Cooper, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, thanks for joining us. Let's jump right into it. Our viewers would like to get the facts.
Yes.
All right, first question. Let's start by defining food safety. What's that?
Okay. Now, food safety refers to the conditions and practices that preserve the quality of food to prevent contamination and foodborne illnesses that can cause harm to consumers.
Contamination. All right, before we even get into the fine details of that, I wanted to give us some details about this week that's been happening from May 31.
Okay, so it's a week of activities with the primary focus to bring awareness
to food safety.
To the general population.
Understood.
It is an international day, but we thought as part of the committee that we would try to build up the process to the day with a week of activities. So what we're having, we started with a church service, and then we moved to do webinars, and we have different videos that we would have posted on the various ministries, departments, and agencies' website. And therefore, come the 7th, we'll culminate with the messages from the three main ministers.
The 7th being the
day of celebration.
Understood.
And we'll also have a webinar on that day also. But Get the Facts is part of that process. Think Tank is also a part of the process. So it's varied, but it should be able to provide information to all the different stakeholders who would be interested.
Understood. So prior to coming into this interview, food safety for me was something that was for them, organizations and regulatory bodies. But you're having an entire week sensitizing the man on the street, the woman on the street, everybody towards food safety.
Yes.
So give us a little tidbit of that. What are some of the risks to food safety?
Okay. Now, food safety is that concept, principle, scientific application of procedures, guidelines, and activities that you would apply or that need to be applied at various stages of food production.
Okay.
And we continue to expound the fact that food that you get have to start from a process. Eh?
Right.
So we say from the farm
Right.
all the way to the fork.
Okay.
That's a continuum.
Farm to the fork.
Farm to fork.
I like
right?
it. Yes.
Yes. So in all of those areas, at each point along that continuum, you need to understand that there are risks. And these risks can affect the food.
So you're saying that when I step into a supermarket, I pick up a nice head of lettuce. There are some considerations that I still need to take.
Yes, yes, you should. Because one of the main thing, where was this lettuce grown? How was it grown?
All right.
The water that was used to irrigate it, where did it come from? What was the source? The handling of the lettuce when it was being reaped. Were there chemicals used on it?
Right.
Did they wait until that period for it to dissipate, as we would say? How was it packaged? Was the package a food-safe package?
Ah, understood.
On the way to the supermarket, how was it transported?
Properly
Was it just
refrigerated.
tossed inside of a container that carried some other things?
Right.
Or was it properly placed in an approved container and transported under the proper conditions and received
Same.
by the supermarket
Yes.
in those, under those conditions for it to be displayed, for you to come now and have it under those same conditions?
I'll be honest. A lot of that is information which may elude me,
Yes.
the buyer.
Yes.
So that head of lettuce, which you know those things about it,
Right.
I don't know what kind of water went into
Right.
it. But what sort of preventative measures does the end user or the fork, what should I be looking out for?
Okay, so you're going to look on that lettuce.
Yes.
And you know what you expect, right? You have an expectation. So
Yes.
like when you're buying a car,
Yes.
you have a certain particular set of variables that you're going to check.
Has to be able to turn on.
Right. And it's supposed to provide you with that comfort.
That's right.
Just like the food, you're going to do that risk, that assessment. Does it look the way I expect it to look? Yes. Are there visible signs of things in it?
So-
things that you can see.
So let me just jump in here. So for example, I should pay attention to the color.
Yes.
And
That freshly green
Yeah.
look. Are the leaves, you can filter through the leaves and see if there are anything there. Insects, pests, dirt, things that you can see.
Right.
If you touch it, it should have that crispy feel. It shouldn't just be dead, soft, soggy, that kind of thing. So you start to do your own inspection from there.
Right.
And therefore, on your way home, you also need to ensure that you have it in a particular method, that when you reach home and to provide for your family and yourself, you're getting the maximum benefit.
Still safe. And we're going to go to a break, but I wanted to ask you real quick. Do I, as a consumer, have the right to even ask the people I buy from under what conditions?
Yes, you do,
Yeah.
but it's a composite right. The right is there for you to make that inquiry.
Yes.
The right is there for you to look for certain critical things. So like a food establishment should have a license that should be properly displayed in a conspicuous area.
Right.
The law says it should be placed in a conspicuous area that the consumer can view to see
Yes.
that it's there. Every person who is working in a food establishment is what we call a food handler. And that food handler must undergo certain training and all of that and get certified.
Sir Colin, we're going to pick this conversation up. We want to hear more about the importance of this role, and especially we want to talk about how this impacts the economy. But let's take a quick break. We're going to come right back to this. Stay with us.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We are still talking about food safety, and with us for this discussion is Mr. Colin Cooper. He's the Environmental Health Specialist with responsibility for food safety and protection in the Environmental Health Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We ended, Sir Colin, on talking about the responsibilities, right? But we wanted to go back to some of the threats, right? I have heard about microbial resistance in foods, grown foods, you know, the things. Can you help us understand that a bit more?
All right. So, before we jump to the microbial,
Sure.
the antimicrobial relationship,
Right.
we need to remember that there are some threats to food: biological, chemical, and also physical.
All right.
Allergens is also a part of that situation. How does antimicrobial come into this picture? We have changed or modified some of the mechanisms that we use to produce certain things.
Right.
So in doing so, we might have used some chemicals or pharmaceuticals to assist in doing that. What has happened is that somewhere along the line, some changes have taken place. And the changes is reflected in the food.
Changes in the food or in the threat to the food?
Both.
Okay.
And therefore, after you would have consumed that food, that might have the chemical, that kind of chemical inside of it,
Yes.
and you become ill, and they might be using the same chemical now, or that medicine to treat the illness, you realize that, hey, you're not getting the result that you should have gotten because there is some resistance.
Ah.
And that's how you talk about antimicrobial resistance.
Yeah.
Because we might have used some of these chemicals indiscriminately in order to achieve a particular objective. So we have to come back to the proper application of proper systems in place, yes?
Yes.
That when you are ill, which foods, bad food, poor food, contaminated food, do cause people to get ill.
Right,
It
right.
do also kill persons. So we're talking about coming out of the United States, you have figures saying 1 in 10 persons will get ill.
Based on what they eat?
Yes.
Oof.
We're talking about like 420,000 persons who might die each year. But one of the high-risk group that suffers the most is children under 5 years of age. Where you have like 125,000 young children dying from foodborne disease every year, right?
Right, right.
And a great majority of persons who get ill might just have some ache, vomiting, diarrhea symptoms. They might not report those. So what we're really seeing is just a tip of a big iceberg of a situation that is there. And that's why the greatest impact that we can make with respect to food safety and protection is to try and educate.
Yes.
Educate.
Right,
Reinforce the message. And that's why a program like this is a very, very important. So that at least you can send a message out there and at least one little bit can be captured and
Yes.
say, hey, a behavior modification will take place.
So my final question, and you can just give us this one really briefly, the Health Ministry's role in food safety.
Well, the Ministry of Health is part of a group of ministries, three main ministries: agriculture and fisheries, industry, investment and commerce, and health and wellness. And that coordinated level points to what we have to do.
Right.
The Ministry of Health in each parish in Jamaica has a health department, which is housed with public health inspectors, whose food safety responsibility starts with investigation of diseases, licensing of food establishment, licensing of or certification of the food handlers, and monitoring of these facilities on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So it has a strong presence out there. But as I said, we work with the other agencies: agriculture and fisheries, industry, investment and commerce. So it's a coordinated approach.
Yes.
And from that coordinated approach, we provide the assurance to the public that there are agencies, there are entities out there.
On the job.
On the job.
Yes.
Day, night, all the time, doing the things. Yes, we need help because we need to inform, educate, and reinforce the message. And that's why World Food Safety Day is so important. It is international.
Yes.
And you can realize why. It's not just national or regional. It's international. So it's an issue. And it's an issue that warrants to be on the agenda of discussion at our dinner tables, at our parties, if we can assemble in a little way, in some regard, in church, wherever you are, whenever you go to make that choice in purchasing your food, always think, how was it handled? How was it prepared?
How will
was
I
it
handle
stored?
it? Yes.
How will I handle it?
Yes.
Just give that couple second check. And if you're not confident, follow that gut feeling and say, hey, no. So come Monday, that's the day of celebration.
June 7th.
June 7th.
Right.
We'll have messages from the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries.
Yes.
From the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, from the Minister of Health and Wellness, but also from our international partners. PAHO, WHO, ICA, and the FAO are all partners in this. So we have a celebratory day.
Yeah.
And we want to keep the message rolling. And we also thank you for your support in giving us the ability to provide this message.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Sir Cooper. That was, I think you started with, we want people to know.
Yes.
And you've ended with that same note. We want people to know. We want people to be a part of. This has been Get the Facts, and our guest was Mr. Colin Cooper, Environmental Health Specialist with responsibility for food safety and protection, which you now understand what that is, in the Environmental Health Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. For more food safety information and to keep up with this week of information leading up to the celebration on June 7, you can visit the social media profiles that should be displayed on your screen. Thank you so much for watching Get the Facts. As always, more important information comes your way every single day on JIS. So thanks for watching. Take care.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, Pathway to Prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Being home more during this pandemic has allowed us to develop our love for new things that we may not have had time for before. For some, it may just be enhancing your old skills. If this love or skill is cooking, and you would like to become certified for when the tourism sector is booming again, then your heart may just be in the right place. Check this out.
Tourism and agriculture have been like Siamese twins from day one. 88% of the world travels for food experiences. And that 42% of the expenditure of all the visitors over the world is on food.
It's for reasons such as this that the Ebony Park Art Academy has been invested in producing top-class chefs and entrepreneurs to fill industry demands.
What Heart is doing for students is that we are empowering our students. We want them to not just get a skill, but get the skill and make it useful. Open up their own business, have an entrepreneurship mind where you don't normally just have to work for people. We want to target everybody, those that are not doing anything, those that are at home not doing anything, those that feel like, boy, I'm too old and I really can't go back to school. We are for everybody. I want to target everybody in Jamaica because we want to empower our nation. And this is where it starts. We offer a wide variety of hospitality courses such as commercial food preparation, level 2, food and beverage service, level 3. But for this one now that we are focusing on today is the commercial food preparation level 2, where they learn a variety of things. They learn from pastries and to savory cooking. We actually have our own farm where we produce most of the items that we use. The pepper, we have our agro-processing units that gather the food and they process it and bottle it, and we use those products. So we don't normally buy a lot of produce out there on the street because we have our own processing unit, our own farm, our own crops, produce, everything.
Meet Amaria Bryan, a commercial food preparation student at the Ebony Park Art Academy. At the 67th staging of the Denby Agricultural Industrial Food Show, Amaria showed off what Heart is teaching him with a scrumptious meal of chicken pasta stir-fry.
I do on-the-job training. So basically for a year, I work at the Ebony Park training restaurant meanwhile I am training. So there are days when I have to go in the kitchen to cook for people who are buying food at the restaurant. And we have to do this to to attain our grade. And based off our performance, we are graded, and then based off that, we get our certificate. What we did, we add a little twist to it and add an Alfredo sauce. So we basically just build a new recipe on spot, and we just call it chicken Alfredo. And in this, we have sweet pepper of different colors. We have ginger, we have salt, we have a little pinch of salt. We have basically what we was aiming for, we wanted to go natural, so we had no powder seasons. And we had two different types of cheese. We have mozzarella, which give it the body, and we had pepper jack cheese, which give it the flavor and give it a little spiciness. And we had sweet corns, we had blanched carrots, yes, and we have a little clove to give it a little kick. And basically, those are the main ingredients in the pasta. And we just add a little bit of brandy to bring out the flavor in the chicken breast, and to basically give it the flambe, the fire effect. That's what we did. And this dish can be prepared in about 5 to 7 minutes. Basically, I have to give the chicken breast time to cook, and the chicken breast cook very quickly. I just recently completed level 2, and I'm actually doing voluntary service here at Denby. And what I plan to do, I plan to do level 3. That's the supervisory level, chef de partie, under the same commercial food preparation. And after I finish that, I plan to work in the hotel, get some experience, but my ultimate goal is to work on the cruise ship and then in the Burj Khalifa at Dubai. Heart has created basically what we call a workforce database where they invest in their trainees, and then they produce them out into the workforce, and they basically have a lot of jobs waiting for us. So once a lot of hotels here at Ebony Park, then they want to take us. Some of them don't even want to interview you. They just want to know you're coming from Ebony Park, and then they just grab it because they know Ebony Park produces the best trainees, the best chefs you can find in Jamaica and on the cruise ship.
Students have worked in our major hotels in Jamaica. Even though I have students at the Rio Hotel, I have students at Sandals, I have students at Hilton. They're all over the place. I have students who are overseas now, who are in the hospitality area, and most of them are chefs. That's what they do, that's what they love, so they just go there. The sky's the limit for them, and they just want to do more, they want to learn more. So even though we teach them here, they always have a passion to know more about this foods, because it's so wide, it's so fun. I don't even know what to tell you, but it's a whole lot in one little package that you can get so much from.
If you want to grab your piece of the pie, but you're scared because you have no certifications in the subject area, don't worry. A mathematics and English entry test are available to process your application. So ask yourself this: what exactly is stopping you from starting your journey?
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come here. Take time running, because we ready for the ops. Drive up on your block, step out now the block, cyber take about your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Please say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Please say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID. MOCA.
As a people, we need to pay closer attention to our food security. Agriculture has grown significantly over the years. Oftentimes, it is hard to look at a person and tell exactly who the farmer is. Do some research, learn about gardening or farming. Stop doubting yourselves and what you can do, and utilize the land. Make it a family thing if necessary. The family that plants together, grows together, and will eventually reap together. Do your part to help ensure our nation's food security while we work to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. This is where the magazine ends for today. But if you would like to see more content like this, then visit our YouTube page. We also have all the latest news and updates on our social media pages and our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Sandra Johnson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.